This is why your agency won't make six figures. Recently, I've spoken with a handful of agencies who are all stuck but underneath 100 grand a month. In this video, I'm going to show you exactly how we scaled beyond 100 grand a month with 7 key areas we wish we had known sooner. My name's Finn Thompson, co-founder of FansHub, and welcome back. The first issue a lot of agencies fall into is not being able to acquire the right talent. Now, there's a couple of things that go into this. A lot of agencies are actually going after the wrong individuals for their agency, and they end up acquiring a handful of creators who just don't work for them. Firstly, if you're going after the wrong talent who are joining your agency, you're going to be chasing ends that just aren't going to scale. No matter what you do to some creators, no matter how much effort you put in, they will not go beyond $2,000, $3,000, $4,000 a month. When actually speaking with agencies, we take a bit of a different approach. And instead of wasting that time focusing on low-level talent, trying to acquire anyone, we say, let's get specific. Client acquisition. Time and time again when speaking to agencies, this comes up. Simply, if you don't have creators, you don't have an agency. By now, you're probably working with 3 or 5 creators, but understanding your ICP, what really makes your agency tick, is probably the most crucial point to actually making client acquisition a successful part of your agency. We say to agencies all the time, what creators are you actually going after? Because right now in your agency, those 5 creators that you have on board are very mixed range of creators. You might have 1 transgender, you might have a gay creator in there, and you might have 3 girl next door type creators. And ultimately, every approach you have to those creators is very different. Take your top creator, for example. Take the creator who's producing the most amount of content, the one that's making the most amount of revenue, and actually take that and make that your ideal creator profile and actually go after more of those type of individuals, because you can then use the same marketing strategies, you can then use the same chatting team or the same chatting approach on these creators' pages to actually enable you to have a great upwards potential in terms of the revenue in which they're earning and the individuals in which you're supporting, but also allow you not to focus on those creators who are taking loads of your time and not generating you tons of revenue. So when actually looking at client acquisition, don't look at it as how many creators can I get on board, but actually look at it as what creators and what ideal creator can I get on board to support the growth of my agency. Model onboarding. Now, this is normally overlooked by a lot of agency owners because they think, oh, we've got the creator on, she's signed the contract, we don't need to worry about the onboarding, people can have a quick conversation with her, and that's that, and that process is done. This is a mistake that we made. We overlooked this entire process completely, and we was having creators not really respect us, leave within the first 4 to 6 weeks because we wasn't coming across as a picture of authority in their mind. We didn't really know what we were talking about, and ultimately we wasn't managing their expectations in that initial stage. Now, this is something that we entirely scrapped and are always constantly working on, even at the agency size it is now, because these first impressions last. If you're not coming across as that figure of authority, when you ask them for content, when you tell them what you're going to do on social media or how you're going to scale with their account, they're not going to believe you. So actually laying out clear expectations to them, but also to your team on how this onboarding process works and how you are going to get them onto your agency and what you are going to do for the creator is very, very important. Now, something to bear in mind is that the sale doesn't end after the creator has signed the contract. Even if they've signed the contract, if they're going through your onboarding process, they haven't yet fully committed to your agency. They can still pull out at any point. So throughout that process, if you or your team drop the ball at any stage with the creator onboarding, the creator won't join you, and you've lost out on a great opportunity that could take you to that next point of growth within your agency. So making sure that this process is smooth from the creator signing the contract all the way through to you getting the OnlyFans login details to the first 6 weeks of their onboarding process with you as an OnlyFans management team, you need to make sure this is perfect. Now, moving on to point 3, chatting. Another key area agencies struggle with. When speaking with agencies, the whole chatting process is very confusing. A lot of agencies do it very, very differently across the board. And being honest with you, there is no one size fits all, one right way to do this. A common misconception that we always find is that agencies are starting their whole process wrong. What I mean by that is they're actually going ahead and almost starting at stage 2 when they haven't actually got stage 1 right. Stage 1 is where it all starts, the whole recruitment process. How many individuals are you actually speaking to? Now, this doesn't matter if your chatters are from the UK or even from the Philippines or India, for example. If you're only speaking to 100 people a week, your pool of what good looks like is much smaller than if you were speaking to 1,000 or say 3 or 10,000 people a week. Ultimately, the aim of recruitment is to find the right individual. If you find the right individual, the training, the onboarding, the way in which they chat to the creators' fans becomes very easy if you've got the right people working on the page. Opposed to if you're only speaking to 100 people a week and your rating of good is here, opposed to ours is here, then your training becomes very hard. The creators are going to get very frustrated because the poor English or the lack of understanding of the fans' intentions. Management structure, another key area. Now, when speaking with teams, there's a lot of different ways in which you can manage your chatters. Some teams like to have their management team in the UK and their chatters team abroad, while others have their management team in the Philippines and their chat team in the Philippines. How you do it is completely up to you, but having the correct management structure in place is what is crucial. You need somebody to be managing your time zones. If you've got chatters who are working 24/7, you need somebody to manage those time zones. If you're asleep or your senior management team's asleep, if there's issues that arise, who's dealing with those issues? You need somebody to be in charge of the distribution. Who's dealing with the wall posts, uploading the PPVs, the scripts, all of this kind of stuff, tagging your creators. Now, these are issues that come up time and time again that cause the creators to get frustrated at you as the agency, that if you just paid somebody to manage this whole process for you, that wouldn't happen. And then finally, quality assurance. Ensuring that you have the correct quality assurers in place to manage the quality of your chatting. We've all seen it. Chatters go on the page, they become very selfish. They might perform in a bad way for a shift or two. You need somebody who's looking over those chats and somebody who's going to report back to you on what's working and what isn't working so well. If you get that bit right, get the recruitment right, you're halfway there. Moving on to the next point, team goals over individual goals. Ultimately, you want your team working together. A chat team is just an extension of a sales team. You want your team of salesmen to be working with each other, encouraging people to tip on the next shift. Ultimately, when speaking to agencies, we see it time and time again where chatters are commissioned on an individual target. Their KPIs are very individual based. Opposed to if you were to have a team bonus or team KPIs where people are encouraged to work together, not only are your chatters going to be encouraged to work together more, but also as a byproduct, this is going to have a greater success for the fans and ultimately the creators when working with your agency. Finally, on chatting, you want to be focused on your creator ICP. Yes, of course, we've gone over this till we're blue in the face when it comes down to actually recruiting the models for your agency. But if you're getting that part wrong, and when you are actually chatting on these creators' pages, you're working with, say, 5 or 10 creators, but they're all in different niches. It's going to be very challenging for you as the agency owner to come up with different strategies for all 10 different niches, for all 10 different creator profiles that you're trying to support. Opposed to if you had 1 or 2 creator profiles, whether that's transgender and male creators, whether that's the girlfriend experience and male creators, whatever that might be, you want to identify that and have strategies both on the chatting and marketing front to be able to support this and grow your agency forward. On to point number 4, struggling to get new traffic to your creators' pages. Although client acquisition and chatting are 2 points we get quite often, this is definitely the most important point. Actually, how do you get new subs to your creators' pages? When speaking with agencies, we say, what social media platforms do you actually offer to your creators in your service? And 9 times out of 10 they list Instagram, TikTok, Reddit, X, dating apps, and that means they're more of a generalist opposed to actually being a perfectionist at 1 or 2 platforms. I always say, if you were to take all of that time that you were spending working out how to run all of these platforms at your current stage and just focus on, say, Instagram or TikTok, you would actually be a lot further ahead if you just focused and channeled all your energy into focusing on those platforms and just supporting those creators which worked on those platforms within your agency. Take Instagram, for example. Instagram have over 3 billion monthly users. Now, are you telling me that you can't scale your creators' pages using that one platform? Instead of scaling across many platforms, scale across many accounts. Master that one platform, become an expert in that field and offer that to your creators and watch your account skyrocket. Now again, I know I keep repeating this, but linking back to your creator ICP, if this isn't right in their initial stages for your recruitment when actually looking to get new models on board, not only does this affect your chatting because the styles are very different across many different pages, but this affects your marketing as well. And the reason is because if you're going after creators who work really, really well on Instagram, but then all of a sudden you have a creator come through who only works on Reddit, you shouldn't even entertain that conversation because ultimately you're an expert at Instagram. You should only be going after creators who work on Instagram, who work on TikTok, on these short form platforms that's going to allow you to plug and play that creator into your systems that you're an expert in and allow you to scale effortlessly beyond without focusing on what's happening on Reddit, what's happening on Twitter. On to point number 5, creator communication. This one really frustrates me because this is something that everybody seems to get wrong. It's so simple to get right, but every person we speak to seems to do something wrong in one way, shape or form. Now over at FansHub, this is something we pride ourselves in because not that long ago, we was actually speaking to a creator who now works with us, who literally joined us for one simple reason. Her account was up. She was making $40,000 a month. But whenever she tried communicating with her agency, an AI chatbot would reply. An AI chatbot will reply to her on if she needed to pay her invoice, what content she needed to put out there. And there was no level of human interaction with the creator apart from her one weekly call. Now, that really stood out to us as an agency because that is such a simple thing to get right by just having an individual in place to actually deal with your creators, to actually support them in their growth journey with you. And that's why we changed everything about how we communicate with our creators. Now, one key point that I would mention is have one platform for all communication. So don't have WhatsApp for something, Slack for something else, Discord for something else. Have one point and one app that you use for all communication with your creator. If you have a WhatsApp group chat with this creator, don't have staff members personally messaging them. Have everything kept within that WhatsApp group so you as the manager or the owner of the business can keep an eye on exactly what's happening, how the creator's feeling, what creator issues are coming up, so you could be the one to manage their expectations and ensure their success within your agency. Second to that, have one point of contact. Don't have 3 different marketing people, 3 different chatting people who are all giving the creator feedback. Have a chatting account manager or a marketing account manager or just one creator success manager. However you do that is entirely up to you. But ultimately, the creator needs to have a point of contact that they speak to and that they can build a relationship with. Another key area is actually sharing the wins with your creators as well as sharing areas of improvement. Something that we've introduced recently is actually sharing analytics of how social media platforms are performing for our creators. Because not that long ago, we had actually a creator come to us and say, I don't understand why I'm posting so much Reddit content, so much Twitter content. And she was actually on the verge of leaving the agency. This creator was doing around 30 to 35,000 a month, but ultimately she didn't understand why she was posting so much stuff on Reddit and all of her friends were doing really, really well on Instagram. But after actually speaking with her, she realized that all of her traffic was coming from Reddit, and that's why we were pushing it. So actually sharing your wins with your creator, whether that's on socials, whether that's on OnlyFans, whatever that looks like, is really, really important, and probably more important than criticizing them in the right way. And finally, when it comes to communication, make it easy for your creators. Do stuff like give them a weekly to-do list. Give them a green, amber and red priority system. In green is TikTok ideas and Instagram ideas. Orange is customs, whatever that might be. Give them an order of priority so when they log on a Monday morning, they know exactly what content they need to create. Make it easy for your creators. At the end of the day, majority of you listening are on a revenue share model with your creators, meaning that the more money they make, the more money you make. So it's in your best interest to make it as easy as possible for your creators to actually go ahead and create content. So when it comes to communication, just make it easy for the creator. If your shoe was on the other foot, how would you want to be treated? How would you want to be spoken to? Think of it like that, and it'll be fine. Staff recruitment and training. Now, while this is often overlooked by a lot of agencies, it's probably one of the most important things outside of your typical how to sign more creators, how do we chat on creators' pages, what are we doing when it comes to marketing. Because although all that stuff is very important, if you don't have the correct people in place, all of that stuff becomes very void. If you have an impressive person in your team, they will naturally improve your systems, your operations, the team that actually works below them. But if you have somebody who isn't that impressive, they're naturally going to break your systems, break the people who work below them, and actually be a negative impact towards your business opposed to a positive. So finding the right people to actually fit in, fill the right hats within your organisation and train them in the correct way is probably one of the most important parts that you are going to play as the agency owner when trying to scale past 100,000 a month. Systems and operations. Now, whilst this is often overseen, systems and operations are probably one of the most critical parts to your business and your success, especially when trying to reach that $100,000 a month mark. Now, you want to see your systems and operations as almost like your oil to the machine. Without the correct systems, without the correct operations in place, you have no real business. Ultimately, the staff members, the creators, everything that we've spoken about previously in this video, point through 1 to 6, all rely on you having the correct systems and operations. Now, there's 3 ways I like to look at our systems and operations. Firstly, simplicity scales. Don't overcomplicate things. Keep everything very simple. That goes both for your creators, for your staff members, whether they're in the UK or wherever they're based. Everything needs to be simple so they can train it and they can easily use it. Secondly, you want to avoid changing things too much. Build things to scale. Don't build things just temporarily. Ultimately, every time you change something, the team needs to be retrained. The team needs to adapt, get used to it again, so it's slowing you down. So avoid change as much as possible. And thirdly, use your common sense. There's so much information out there in terms of how to run Instagram, how to run your systems, how to onboard creators. Use your common sense, put yourself in the creator's shoes, and create systems for yourself that work inside your agency, because ultimately, your agency is very different to mine. What works for you is going to be very differently for us to all the other agencies out there. So use your common sense, understand what works for you, and make it very simple to scale. And there you have it. 7 points I wish I'd known sooner when scaling past 100 grand a month. Thank you so much guys for watching. Please hit that subscribe button and stay tuned for the video next week. If you have any further questions, feel free to reach out to me in my Telegram in the description, and I'll see you then.